What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have a lot of really important things to cover in this video, so make sure you stick around to the end. Tomorrow will be huge for the markets. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So, Tom, I know the market's kind of going crazy. I know the market kind of tanked down today, and we even saw some huge names like Microsoft down nearly 3.5%. What's going on?
Yeah, it looks like the market is very fearful heading into Powell speaking tomorrow. The FOMC statement is going to actually drop at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and then Powell is going to be speaking at his usual press conference at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. But CNBC reports that the Federal Reserve is expected to announce a more rapid transition away from its easy policies after its meeting on Wednesday. And as it sets, this is actually going to be setting the stage for the first interest rate hikes next year. And the main thing that I think the markets are worried about, Mike, is those rate hikes. I think that once we start seeing the rates go up, the markets might start to take some drops. And I think the market is obviously pretty fearful of that. And we can see that heading into this event, the market has been down, but I will say the SPY did recover up at the end of the day pretty nicely. But like you said, Microsoft and a lot of big names fell down today. Even Apple, which has been on fire lately, they didn't end up in the red too bad, only down 0.8%. But you can see they had some pretty bad moves in the middle of the day, and it could have been a lot worse than where it closed.
Exactly. So everyone who might be confused regarding like the FOMC meeting and things like that, basically what happens is the Feds will be talking about, interest rates, inflation, employment data, and a bunch of economic numbers like that. And they will make a decision on whether they are going to taper more, whether they're going to raise rates, or they're just going to be talking about what they're seeing in the economy right now and how they are going to react to that. A lot of times the market rises off of this type of event. However, there have been many times in the past where the market just got destroyed on FOMC meeting days. So basically, just like Tom said, the FOMC statement's going to drop at 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, and then Jerome Powell will be speaking at his press conference at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's like almost always a live stream on YouTube, so definitely look out for that. But tomorrow we're set for a huge day, and depending on what Powell says, that can really, really make the markets move in a big way.
Yeah, it really can. And it's actually not just Powell that we have to worry about today and tomorrow. Apparently CNBC also reported today that congressional Democrats are moving to raise the debt limit ceiling Tuesday, which is one day before the December 15th deadline that Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned could mark the start of the first ever U.S. default. And I think that if we see the Treasury default, we're going to see some pretty bad moves out of the market. Just with that alone, forget what Powell has. Like, obviously, that'll be the first time the U.S. ever defaulted. And I think that that's some pretty bad news. So looking at this going forward, if they're not able to raise this ceiling tonight, I don't know what exactly is going to go on tomorrow, but we're going to have to see, because it definitely sounds interesting. And it's definitely a pretty big ongoing subject. But keep in mind, they are expected, I believe, to get this passed and to go ahead and raise the ceiling. But it's definitely going to be interesting. Apparently, they reported that they're going to be voting on this at 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is actually 10 minutes ago. I'm Central time, so that's why it shows up as 3:10 p.m. down here. But either way, they're voting on it tonight. It's going to be a pretty big deal. And Mike, I don't know if you know anything about these defaults, but it's definitely not good for the market.
Yeah, I mean, that would be horrible. I think it's very unlikely that we actually get to like a really bad catalyst like that. But I know there's been a lot of talk regarding the potential default. Honestly, it's just like a bunch of political moves, in my opinion. I think everything will be fine. But of course, if the Senate does not pass that bill, it can be really bad for the market. But I would say with everything going on, the FOMC meeting is like the main thing to watch out for tomorrow. And just, Tom, looking at some stocks today, like we can see the market, like even though it finished red, some stocks like DraftKings, Microsoft, Square, you could say Zoom, like there's just a lot of selling pressure in the market right now. And honestly, it looks like a lot of people are just like, selling out of their positions ahead of this FOMC.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's been a really rough few days. And even for the past couple of weeks, I feel like people have really been hyping up this event. And We're really seeing a lot of selling pressure all across the board. There were a few stocks in the green today, like some of the bank stocks actually ended green, but you can see they were green early on. And then at the end of the day, they saw some selling pressure kind of with the SPY and with everything else. So it's definitely a lot of mixed opinions here. I feel like that we saw a lot of tech stocks down pretty big. Like I know Netflix was down a lot today. They're definitely starting to move pretty south, and they could have closed actually a lot lower if they didn't recover up at the end of the day. Another big one, Mike, has been actually BLNK and these other stocks like RUN. RUN had some pretty bad news. Unfortunately, the growth stocks have not been moving up this week at all, which has been a pretty big concern heading into these events. I know that the growth stocks kind of looked like they had some good momentum a couple weeks ago, and they kind of just gave that all back this week.
Exactly. So, Tom, do we have any other major news to look out for?
Nothing too big. There is some more Omicron variant news, but the main stuff to look for is going to be Powell tomorrow. And, looking at the VXX, it did close up green today. Looks like we got a bit of a pop at the end of the day. And, the markets are fearful. So maybe we'll see a pop out of the VIX and, maybe some of these stocks that go up when the market falls.
There we go. So with that being said, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have RUN to the downside.
Yeah, go ahead and make RUN fall below 34.50 for tomorrow.
Sounds good. And then we have Square also to the downside.
Yeah, they almost double bottom down here. Make them fall below 168.50.
All right. And then with the last one, we have BABA, but this one is to the upside.
Yeah, the China stocks did surprisingly well today. Make them break out above 127.65.
All right, so we are watching RUN and Square for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, and we are watching Alibaba for potential day trade to the upside tomorrow, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. And like I said, we are watching RUN and Square to the downside, only if they break below the level Tom listed. But with that being said, I just want to shout out our member of the day really quickly, and that is Matt L on YouTube. Thank you so much for all of the comments on YouTube, and you asked some pretty good questions on the live stream today, so I definitely want to give you a shout out. And if you guys want to join Tom and myself live at Market Open every single day, it is completely free, and the link for that is in the description down below. It should say like Stocked Up Live YouTube channel. If you click that, you can join Tom and myself live at Market Open every single day for free. Just subscribe to that channel. And with that being said, let's get right into the comments from the previous video. With the first comment, we have Fungus saying, Oracle puts, very bearish sentiment. So looking at Oracle, it's been having a pretty good uptrend, honestly, but it has been selling off very slightly over the past couple of days. So depending on how the market acts tomorrow, maybe it could be a good play to the downside, but it is in a pretty good uptrend as of like the past couple weeks, and they're right around that like $100 support.
Yeah, definitely. And I will say that I've seen lots of setups kind of gap up like this and then kind of consolidate like this for a couple of days where they go red. And then I've seen them honestly pop up and then break new highs plenty of times before. So, I think that it is a good play to the downside, especially if the overall market goes down after Powell speaks. But I think that's going to be the main thing. If the market pops, I think Oracle has a pretty good shot to keep going up. So definitely be careful with it. But I would say if it falls below 100, kind of like what we're seeing right now, and Powell makes the market drop, then I think it could be good.
I'm just kind of neutral on it. Like, I don't love it to the downside, and I don't love it to the upside either. To the downside, like, I feel like there's weaker stocks out there that might fall a lot easier if the market falls. And then like to the upside, like, I feel like it's at a point right now where it's like just a little bit overextended, where I just feel like there's better opportunities with this one.
Yeah, I do too. And we're seeing, like we talked about this on Sunday night, actually quite a bit with AMD and Nvidia. And these two stocks actually kind of broke below supports today and then came back up at the end of the day. And looking at these ones going forward, I feel like these are two stocks that, could end up falling down pretty drastically if we do see the market start to drop. And like you said, there's lots of other stocks that are pretty overextended.
All right, with the next comment we have, well, Tom, you called it perfectly. So with the next comment, we'll be looking at AMD. And Outlaw said, Mike and Tom, what's a good buy point for AMD over the next 2 days? And then they questioned like 130. So honestly, like, I just think AMD is a little bit overbought, and I can definitely see it dropping like over the next couple of weeks or so. So I wouldn't buy it at this level. That doesn't mean that it's a bad buy by any means. I mean, AMD is a solid company and they've been doing very, very well over the past couple of years and even over the past couple of weeks. So I don't think you can go wrong. Like if you're holding it for the long term, then it probably won't be bad. But for the short term, I can definitely see some more downside movement.
Yeah, and it's going to really depend on the market tomorrow, of course, as well. And when I'm looking at AMD, they actually broke below that key support around 134 early on this morning, all and fell all the way down to 130 in pre-market. It was looking like a pretty bad start to the day, but then we got that big recovery at open. So it's going to be tough. Stocks are all over the place heading into this crazy event. And I would say, AMD has a better shot to go down than go up as well, but it's all just going to depend on Powell.
All right. Well, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or anything for tomorrow?
I'm really looking at the VXX, of course. I think that this stock, of course, it likes to go up when the market goes down. And of course, it's going to get volatile tomorrow. If Powell makes the market drop, the VIX should shoot up pretty nicely. So looking at it, I think it's a pretty good opportunity. If you see it start to rise up, as he starts to speak or possibly like as the FOMC statement comes out, I think that you could see some pretty good moves to the upside on this one. But, keep in mind, it's going to be volatile. It's going to be probably all over the place. I've seen stuff whenever Powell speaks where the market goes up for the first night and then ends up dropping the next day. And, there's a bunch of different factors that end up coming out. So looking at it, though, I think the VIX is a good option. And, with inflation going up, I've honestly been eyeing up some of these stocks like KHC and then CLX. I think they're going to be two pretty good stocks for the next couple of months with all the inflation scares.
Sounds good. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you like our content, make sure to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. And if you trade options, definitely check out the first link in the description and the comments down below for daily option swing trades, day trades, and access to an awesome community. We have a coupon running and you can cancel it at any time. But other than that, thanks for watching.